Hello, America. I'm Rebecca Weber, and I'm joined by our great friend, the one and only Mike Gallagher. Mike, it is great to have you back with me here today.
Well, Rebecca, you and AMAC are like rock stars here at the People's Convention. I mean, everybody's talking about AMAC. Everybody's appreciating the advocacy that you do. And I'm impressed by all the young people who I know are going to be future AMAC members down the road. They're getting their marching orders now and realizing what a group like AMAC can do on behalf of them as they get 50 or older. So kudos to your presence here at the People's Convention, because AMAC is everywhere.
It is, and it's been a joy to be here, joined with so many people, young, old, and everywhere in between. Mike, the movement is really growing in America, and we can feel it here. I've interviewed many people who have said they're tired of being indoctrinated into believing that if you don't go along with what we're seeing coming out of the administration, that we're lunatics, that something's wrong with us. Tell me, what do you think is driving most young people to say, I'm not going to vote for Biden this go-around? What is the motivation
this is
there?
the year, Rebecca, where sitting on the sidelines isn't acceptable anymore. And I've been talking to my audience about AMAC for years. AMAC is an organization that is not on the sidelines. You guys are in the trenches. You're fighting for Americans. You're fighting for values. I've got your dad's spirit in my heart every single day. And it's an honor for me to represent what your dad fought for when he formed AMAC all those years ago. You're right, Rebecca. Something is changing. There's a shift. A poll came out the other day that Trump actually is beating Biden in 18 to 29-year-old voters. 18 to 29-year-olds.
I believe it.
Let that sink in. Trump is in play in Virginia. Trump is in play in Wisconsin, states that were unthinkable for Republicans. So everybody, I think, they've got their eyes wide open. This year is a game changer, Rebecca. The lawfare that has been implemented against President Trump, I think, has gotten people off the sidelines and saying, if they can do this to him, they can do this to anybody. So that's why an organization like Charlie Kirk's organization, that's why AMAC has got such enthusiasm and such passion, because people are fired up and they're fed up. They're tired of being treated the way the left has treated us for too long. Now's the time to join organizations like AMAC and recognize that there are warriors out there fighting for all of us, and AMAC is one of the best ones in the country.
Thank you, Mike. I'm glad that you bring that up, because it isn't just talk, and we're more than just a mature club. We, in fact, give our members a way to get involved. We give every American a way to participate on the grassroots level, and that's why being a part of AMAC is critical. We're helping people get out there, become poll watchers and election workers. This is the year. If you're not doing something, then you're helping the other side get reelected.
Every Wednesday I visit with Andy Mangione from your team on the Mike Gallagher Show, and every week he's talking about ways that AMAC has mobilized really your army, where you guys have you unleash the power of the millions of people who support AMAC. Andy was sharing with me today about the JP Morgan Chase efforts to have this social initiatives and social scoring, so they could hurt conservatives and debank people whose views don't align with the far left. AMAC was unleashed. Your members got mobilized. You contacted them respectfully, and they've backed down. Jamie Dimon, of all people, said, look, we don't care what your ideology is anymore. We just want to do business with you. That's the difference that AMAC is making. That's the way we're going to get this country back. And God willing, on November 5th, we're going to see a big victory for common sense constitutionalists who are going to govern and legislate the way we, the people, expect them to, and we're going to get our country back.
And that's why the work that you do each and every day, informing Americans, is so important. People need to follow you and watch you. Listen at the Mike Gallagher Show on Salem Radio.
Thank you.
You know, again, talking to many people here, they're recognizing that the radical left wants to essentially fund terrorists by keeping a wide open border. They want to persecute our police, which makes our cities less safe. They want to teach our children to hate America. They want to confuse the heck out of them and make them think that they're born in the wrong body. Look at what Joe Biden did to Title IX and redefining what it means to be a woman, allowing men and boys to play in girls' sports and giving them a free pass into a women's locker room. These are the issues that are really impacting American families, because it comes right directly to our children. More and more people are saying, we have rights as parents. You know, you don't own our children. And so as I said earlier, the black community, the Hispanic community, they are leaving the Democrat Party in droves.
So are young people, frankly.
And so are the young people.
Look at the thousands who are here in Detroit this weekend. Look, I was in Israel a few months ago, and I got to interview some survivors of the Hamas terrorist attack. What those monsters did to those innocent people is unspeakable. And yet, here in America, we've got Americans parading around, demonstrating and supporting Hamas. This is no longer a battle between Republicans and Democrats. Rebecca, it's no longer even right versus left. It is even right versus left, or this is good versus evil.
Good versus evil.
This is right versus wrong. We have Americans who are despicably defending evil right in front of us, and all the things you've listed. I mean, you've reached out to us. You talked to my foundation director, Joey Hudson, and me a few months ago about our foundation that benefits the families of fallen law enforcement officers. Gallagher's Heroes, the Fallen Officer Fund. AMAC stands with law enforcement. AMAC stands with the military. You don't see the AARP and other groups doing these things. These are the kinds of initiatives that make us so proud to stand with AMAC, and it's the only way we're going to get the country back. But you're right, Rebecca. We have witnessed an unspeakable shift into sheer evil. The good news is we know how this ends. Good triumphs over evil. God's got this. And
well, that's important that you say that. And, we believe here at AMAC that God doesn't make mistakes. And we believe that we get our freedoms from God and God alone, not from a government. And this is why the work that you're doing, helping people, is so key. Share with those listening a little bit about the First Responders Bible and the impact that has had over thousands of lives.
Well, for years now, we've assisted the families of law enforcement officers who've been killed on the line of duty. It's called Gallagher's Heroes. You can go to gallaghersheroes.org and see about our efforts. And then that has sort of expanded into publishing what we call the First Responders Bible. Because when you think about it, Rebecca, the men and women of law enforcement, paramedics, EMTs, firefighters, they witness unspeakable things in their day-to-day jobs. They see death and dying and despair, and then they got to go back to work the next day.
That's right.
Well, this Bible is not only a King James version of the Bible, but it's also a spiritual fitness manual to help them cope with what they have to go through, to help them have the spiritual tools to recover from the traumas that they witness. And so we've been publishing and distributing, thanks to our listeners' generosity, the First Responders Bible for years. We've sent out thousands and thousands of those Bibles. And frankly, after Joey and I were guests of you on the podcast a couple of months ago, we had a big spike in interest in a lot of people who wanted the First Responders Bible. So you can go to gallaghersheroes.org, learn all about the First Responders Bible, learn all about our efforts to represent law enforcement, because let's face it, Rebecca, to the angry left, law enforcement is the enemy. They're the bad guys. And there was a time when I'm old enough to remember when cops were the good guys.
That's right.
They still are.
And so many of our first responders are volunteers. They're not getting paid to show up, and they're the first ones there.
That's right. They're
rescuing people.
They're running into burning buildings and putting their lives on the line, and they're not getting a dime for it.
That's right.
They're helping cut people out of cars that have been in terrible accidents, and many of them don't get a dime. They do it because they want to serve humanity and they want to help their fellow man, and that's so special.
Well, this is what's beautiful. There are so many good people in America, and we need to ensure that we hold our values sacred and that we support those who do so much for so many. You being one of them, sir. What an honor to have you here with me today. I want to encourage everybody to check out the Mike Gallagher Show. If you're not listening to this guy, you are missing out on the truth. Your show is fantastic, and we appreciate our partnership.
Well, I appreciate you so much, and I've got to brag on you a little bit. When I was outside in line and we were talking to a lot of people who listen, I said, I'm going to go in and do the Rebecca Weber podcast. Everybody knew about the podcast. They're watching you, they're following you, they're supporting AMAC, and kudos to you for a great presence here at the People's Convention. This is what AMAC is all about, and it's why we're so proud at the Mike Gallagher Show to be your partners. Thank you for all your support of the show, and let's keep fighting the good fight together, Rebecca.
Thank you, Mike. Amen. Great to be with you.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah.